left.
The liberation of mutant kind has begun.
Welcome to the future.
Voice is Clown.
Not Clown. Joker.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Nobody tampers with the equipment except Tony Stark.
Good idea.
United, the Avengers are strong.
Hawkeye, hands off.
Fool! Have you forgotten my invincible magnetic power?
Not this time, Magneto.
My mutant brain senses danger.
Something unseen is slowly spreading its poison, edging tempers.
Think carefully before you do this.
You filthy criminals.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh God, drinking pop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. What are we doing? No. Yeah. I don't remember. Uh-oh. Can't hear you. Mm-mm. That's what Jane said. Amateur, guys. Sorry about that. Amateur hour. He was talking about how awesome it is. This is our 52nd episode. This is also...
Check.
I don't know.
There we go. Should I start it over?
Sure.
All right, let's start. All right, we're going to run the intro one more time.
No, don't run. Not the whole thing. What? Are you crazy?
Hey, what is this? 52 episodes.
Yeah, there you go.
Technical difficulties. I'm sorry about that, Jaden. Thank you for the help there. It's our 52nd episode, and the fun fact is we've been doing this for a year. I think it was Thursday? It was either Wednesday or Thursday. We got notified by the FB that we have been doing this for one whole year. And we started on Twitch. We're on Twitch for about 6 months, and now we're on YouTube, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since on YouTube, and we've been killing it. Let's see what we're doing now. We're at 339. 339 right now. Shout out to who was it on Instagram? Somebody gave us a shout out and was like, "Hey, help our friends out and get them on. Get us to 500 essentially." Let me see.
Who was it, Dingus?
I don't remember.
Oh my God.
I'm looking it up right now because I couldn't remember.
Listen, you're supposed to watch the Instagram. I watch the Twitters.
Yeah. Waywazy Comics. Waywazy Comics on Instagram shouted us out last night, and was trying to get the community to pump our numbers, and I love it. And we went from like 335 to 339. That's great. I greatly appreciate it. So, it's our 1 year since we've been doing this. We thought about doing a giveaway. I'm gonna save that for next show. I do have a slab in mind to give away. So anyone that's watching this now, be here next week. I know all our faithful here, Patty and Mike and Jaden, you'll be here. But next week we're going to give away a slab to commemorate the 1 year anniversary of Two Fat Guys Bulls. We'll throw it out on social. We'll put it in Comic Book Hall so everybody gets a decent amount of time to get ready for that. So we're going to do a 1 year giveaway. Nice. Show we can do. Patty says I watched a lot of Arrow, and here it's in the same verse, so figured I'd watch. It's sick 1 year. Yep. Thank you, man. All right, so let's just we're gonna take care of some business, then we'll be rocking and rolling. I do not have what we're giving away or what the store exclusive is for the mystery pool this month for the month of August. We will be getting that by next show. But if you're new to the show, we have a mystery pool monthly comic book subscription service. If you sign up on brainycomics.com, you get 1 store exclusive, 4 to 7 back issues, consisting of anything from bronze, silver, or modern age books, and 1 chance at a big key issue. Last month, we gave away a 9.8 CBCS graded Barbaric #1 Tone Rodriguez exclusive. So that is basically that. You can go to brainycomics.com and sign up today for our monthly comic book subscription service. It's basically supporting our comic book store here in the DFW area, Collected Comics and Games, and then Brainy Comics is their website. So go ahead over there, go to brainycomics.com, check that out. That's the cool stuff there. So also, like we said before, we're in the middle of a 500 subscriber milestone slab giveaway. Once we hit 500 subscribers, you guys know the drill. We're going to give away this 9.4 CGC graded Wolverine #1 with the custom CGC label. This book's hot. And Nathan doesn't want me to give it away, but I'm going to, because that's just what I do.
Yeah.
We're going to give this away once we hit 500 subscribers. We're getting close, man. Like we said, we hit 339 subscribers today. So we're just going to keep pushing. We're going to, it's probably going to starting to get a little annoying on our videos, our little intro about the giveaway, but we got to get it out there. New people need to see it, and we want people to know that we're giving away some cool shit if you subscribe to our show. So give it, check it out, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you're not already subscribed, and that's the biz. So let's get into it. This week was a bit beefy, like quite beefy actually, and Nathan,
much.
I've got a special guest here. This is a bit that I decided to throw in here really quick.
God.
It may work, it may not, but
okay.
We're always trying new things. So I'm gonna bring in our guest for the evening.
Okay.
It will make an appearance if this goes well. We'll see. Maybe it'll make an appearance in our comic book video. I don't know. But I'm gonna bring in our guest, and that is Beefy Cow. Hold on.
Jesus.
I'm trying. Hold on.
Is there an audio that I'm not going to be able to hear too?
No, there's audio. I gotta find. Oh, where is it? Hold on, technical difficulties here. We're gonna make this work.
God.
Where's my cow?
Sometimes I wonder if people just watch us to see the train wreck that is the beginning of every show.
Beginning of the video. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, there it is. Okay, cool. So I just gotta find where my mouth.
Oh my God.
What up, Nate?
Jesus. Oh my God.
I'm the beefy Hall. You ready for this?
This is what you guys come for, is these class A top-notch graphics.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready for the beefy Hall?
Oh God, let's just get it started.
I see, and I'm all the way over here, so I can make this thing work anyway. All right, let's do this. So, like we said, we got a pretty beefy haul. We had 26 books, I believe, and not all 26 made it. Our honorable mentions is actually quite beefier. But we'll get this going. So first off, we're going to kick the show off with Sword, #7, part of the Last Annihilation little mini event from Al Ewing. Jade says, absolutely what I came here for. Yep, there you go. I feel bad. I'm eating a cheeseburger, and now I feel like the cow is staring into my soul. Quite literally. Anyway, Sword. So, I enjoyed this issue. I thought it was really good. I was not expecting, I'm just going to kind of jump right into the end. I was not expecting the Empire Ewing reveal to show up this quickly in the Last Annihilation event.
I agree. I actually think I predicted in one of our previous videos that this would not happen until September or October. So I was wrong.
So anyway, essentially what we have here is we've got Dormammu releasing these mindless clay death robots into the universe, and it's attacking various planets. And the main one that we see in this book is the new hybrid planet for the Kree Skrull Alliance, right? And they're essentially getting their asses kicked, and they recruit Captain Glory, and they're getting overwhelmed, right? Essentially in this entire book, they get overwhelmed. Hulkling's magic sword gets completely destroyed in this book, And I'm going to wrap it up fairly quickly in the sense of the concept, so we can talk about what we think is going to happen next. But essentially, the Kree-Skrull alliance is losing badly, and then who comes to save the day? But the Sword Base, Abigail Brand, and her mutants, and it's basically a shot-for-shot of when we get the foreshadowing of Hulkling losing something, and the way it was mocked up in Empire was Abigail Brand was the reason why they were all getting their asses kicked. And what we see is it's really Abigail Brand coming to the rescue of the Skrull Kree Alliance. The crazy part is she basically engineered that rescue, right? She knew at some point Quantum Stress says audio sucks. Uh-oh. Are we still having problems with audio?
I don't know. I can check it.
No, I see my voice mod. Desktop's up. Jaden, how we doing on audio? Does it sound decent?
Background music might be a little too high.
Let's check here. Let's not. I don't want it completely gone. There we go. Okay. Well, we'll keep going. Basically, she engineered the rescue, and the Kree-Skrull Alliance, Hulkling sent out a distress call to the Avengers to Alpha Flight, and what we find out is Abigail Brand essentially intercepted those messages so that they didn't get them, so that she could look like she was the saving grace, and everybody else ignored the Alliance, so that she can make out to be looking like the White Knight. Right. And so that's the big thing. And what we're seeing now is that Abigail is really obviously in it for herself, and I think Krakoa, for her, is just not. It's not
really important at all. Yeah, not at all.
It's all about her game, and so she's going to use Krakoa to her best of her abilities to get what she wants. So that's part A of this book.
Yep.
Then we get the big part, which I'm going to let you break down because I feel like you have a much better grasp. You know more about that dynamic and that relationship between those two characters.
Oh, do you think that part is the bigger part of the story?
The Storm Doom conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was definitely a subplot, but okay.
I don't think. Here's the reason why I don't think it is, because Doom. I think Doom is in multiple books, right? He's in Sword.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place.
Avengers. He's gonna. He's obviously in Fantastic Four. He's gonna show up in another book that's not even. Oh, Excalibur. So like.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he is. If you watched our solicitations video for September, he shows up in Excalibur, which I just posted a couple hours
I don't think I was a part of that one.
You were.
Okay. So yeah, the subplot or the other plot in this book is a dinner conversation between Doctor Doom and Storm, which was my favorite part of this book, particularly because of the way that, the extended history that these two have together. This meal was particularly reminded me of, gosh, I should have looked it up before we started the show, but it was an Uncanny X-Men issue from the late 70s. It would have been beginning of Claremont's run, so one teens, maybe like 118 or something. I think it was even before the Dark Phoenix saga, but it very much drips of influence from that conversation. So there was a lot here, basically, with Storm just sort of flexing her muscles and just showing that, Mars and Krakoa and the mutants they need to be taken seriously, and that even Doom, with all of his power, is not really going to be able to get in the way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the other thing that's crazy, or it's his foreshadowing, and I take it with a grain of salt. He's talking about this metal that the mutants stole. And he's like, y'all have to realize that this is not something that's from our reality or even our multiverse. So we're dropping.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
He's dropping these subtle hints that, again, I've told you that I've got this theory that Marvel in general, comics, Marvel universe is about to get cracked wide open, and I don't think Sword is exempt from that. And I think Doom bringing up that conversation about the metal that they stole that now is kind of currency amongst the sword base and the galactic Marvel Galactic forces. I just think him saying that, like, he literally says, this isn't from our universe, shit, this isn't even from our multiverse, and you need to realize that you are fucking with things that you don't understand. Now, it's Doom, right? And Doom is going to put himself on a pedestal higher than anybody else in the room. So I think you got to take that with some salt. But at the same time, I wouldn't not listen to his words. You know what I mean? And so I just think that this is also another piece of the puzzle that's going to be a part of this gigantic. I think we're coming. I really do think we're coming to a giant event that I feel like Marvel has been trying to do, and maybe they've been putting little pieces together. Empire, Heroes Reborn. Now we've got Last Annihilation, and we're all going like, "Oh, these events suck. They're so small, minuscule, and they don't have any weight." I feel like we're coming close. Maybe in 2022. Maybe it's in 2023. I think Marvel's getting ready to just literally break open the multiverse and just say, fuck it, here we go.
Well, with how much they've been keeping closely to the MCU and how things have been influenced one way or the other lately, that would not surprise me at all, especially.
I think we're just going to get a reverse Secret Wars, Hickman Secret Wars, where everything comes back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think, Ewing is doing a great job of, again, the beginning of his Guardians run, I was like, I don't know about this dude. And then now it's suddenly everything's firing on all cylinders.
Also, my favorite scene, and possibly one of the hottest burns I've read in a Marvel book in a while, is Victor's running his mouth to Storm about something about what does he say? He said it's nice to see you as a true queen now instead of a king's wife, referring to her previous marriage with Black Panther. And then she instantly comes back and says, "Victor, do you really want to discuss respective marriages so soon?" And I was just like, "Oh man, yeah, that's pretty rough."
We'll get to that wedding soon
Yes.
in our pull list. But that's sword number 7. I'm super digging it. I feel like Ewing really has a good grasp on all the characters, which I think is great. I cannot wait for more Arakan mutants to jump in here. I know we have an Arakan mutant that's on the sword team. Cannot wait to see that more that character in action. And I'm almost kind of hoping to see Abigail eat a little crow, if that makes any sense. Like, I'm just waiting for her to kind of overstep, because I feel like she's just taking leap and leap and leap and not really,
I don't know. I think that's maybe what they need.
I think so. I mean, I just feel like she's OP as shit. She needs to, she needs to get into an area where she doesn't roll a 20 on her 20-sided dice. Like she gets a little vulnerable. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I feel like it's coming soon. So I enjoyed the issue. It wasn't my pick of the week, but man, and also let's just say this
close
again.
for me.
How do you say the artist name? Cassiel? Cassili? Fire.
Yep.
Fire.
Oh yeah, it's been very good.
So good.
This is the artist that worked with Ewing on the Empire book as well.
Yeah. Phenomenal. All right, next up, we've got Wolverine, number 14. Whew. This felt like what Wolverine... This is going to sound stupid, but I just felt like this is what Wolverine should have felt like at the beginning.
Yeah.
It felt like an original Wolverine story. And the reason why I say that is because we've been dealing with fucking vampires for 13 issues.
No.
Oh, it's what it feels like. Anyway.
It feels that way, yeah.
and we finally get like Wolverine doing some shit that feels like Wolverine. It doesn't feel like he's Blade 2.0,
Right.
And we get a little mini appearance from his new nemesis in Solemn at the end of the book, but we also deal with some Arakan mutants that aren't on Mars, that feel like they need to lay claim to Earth because they've been in hell for a millennia. And so they're finally trying to figure out what they can lay claim on Earth. I thought this issue was fantastic, in my opinion.
I had a lot of fun with this one. I think this issue could be co-headlined like the island of lost plot lines or something. But I enjoy that because what it shows the cohesiveness of the Hickman era in X-Men right now. So basically, the way that this story starts is by picking up. Jaden says he thinks you're a tad quiet.
Yeah, I'll work on
it. There's basically two plot lines from previous books that have been sort of left dangling, I guess you could say. One was mainly from Marauders, which is, the Marauder team going in there and trying to basically influence Madripoor to be for the mutants instead of against them. And then the other involves the ship the Marauder, but was actually from the X-Force book during the Hellfire Gala, in which it actually looked like Christian Frost got killed. Apparently he didn't get killed. He was found like comatose in the water, and then the Marauder was burned, and we're not sure what happened, how that happened. So that's basically how the plot of this story, which finds another Arakan mutant, has been causing trouble in Madripoor and in a surrounding pirate kind of cove, essentially.
It's like it's like an island next to Madripoor that's worse than Madripoor.
Exactly.
Which is really hard to envision, but they do it pretty well in the book.
But this book super cohesively, I truly think that this book, if you're only reading Wolverine, might have been a little scattered feeling, especially the first half, setting it up. But if you're reading the X stories in general and you're fully invested in the X universe, this had a lot of dividends that paid off just to see some loose ends that you maybe didn't get good conclusions to in other books. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like I said, it just we get some Arakan. Well, we get a lot of Arakan action in this book. We get a little bit more. Like you said, we get some mystery that's going to tie into Marauders. We get a little bit that's going to probably tie into X-Force. So there's a lot of connectivity in this book, which is really nice. But I think the biggest thing that I like is that we've got this new bad, and we really don't know what he's going to do. He was a little piece of shit in Ten of Swords, quite arrogant, and we'll see what he does moving forward. He clearly has a network of Arakan mutants out on Earth, and I think I really dig that because we're getting an opportunity to see new characters, which is nice. It's always nice to kind of have that key and just to see what they play with it. I mean, you've got this toy box of just unlimited characters that you can just play with that are mutants, which is really cool. And who knows where that will go. But I'm ready to see, Wolverine take on Solemn with the Muramasa blade. Will Wolverine pick up the blade again? Who knows? But they seem quite evenly matched in the sense that Solemn's skin is made out of adamantium, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, and it's just the same thing with Wolverine, so it's a little bit more of an exterior shell rather than an interior shell. So we'll see where it goes. But I felt like this was an issue that we desperately needed, just because I felt like we've been floating along for a while, and we're finally kind of getting some original... It sounds really stupid, but it just feels like we're getting some original story now with Wolverine, rather than just hey, vampires, hey, event tie-in, hey, event tie-in, hey, vampires again. You know what I mean? And I'm sure Dracula will show up again, but
I'm sure he will too.
Give me 7 issues and then we can go back. So that's Wolverine 14. All right, next one, the last issue of Cable, issue number 12. I really liked it.
It was fun.
I feel like Gary is doing a good job of planting seeds. I think we get a little bit of snippets that are we're going to see some foreshadowing in other books that he's writing in the X series, X-Men included. Right. But yeah, overall, this issue was really fun, and I feel like it lived up to the hype. I felt like it was a good finale. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the humor of this book was definitely present in here. I like that Jerry included a little bit of Deadpool.
Well, he's quite literally in the book going like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" Like
Yes, exactly. Like it's really funny. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm sad that this book is gone. I am not super invested in one version of Cable over the other. But I guess I just feel like there's a little bit more identity with the Krakoan era with young Cable. And so, I mean, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but it does seem like this book is a pretty clean wrap on him being involved in current continuity for a while.
I think the next time we see young Cable will be either the end of the Krakoan era and he has to come back, like he has to, all right, let's get ready for a reboot or something like that. I think he won't show up until quite literally the end of the Krakoan era. Yeah, and that kind of makes me sad. I don't know. I don't think there's room for both of them, but shit, I don't know. There's literally basically every mutant you can think of is almost getting involved at some point. So across what 12, 13 books, but yeah, and the next time we're gonna see Cable is in the Annihilation Overload or something like that from Ewing. Yep. So I think that's why he's quite literally brought in. But we'll see where he goes after that. We know that he's not making an appearance after that, at least not in October, when we do our October solicitations video, which we will have up at some point. But yeah, like it quite literally feels like Old Man Cable was brought back just for the Annihilation event. But he may jump into X-Force. He may jump into... Yeah, I don't think so. I think he'll be very, very involved. I almost wonder if Jerry doesn't bring him into the X-Men book in some capacity. That would be cool. I'd be totally down for that. I think him in either X-Force, X-Men, or anywhere. He might just pop up. He makes more sense in X-Force just because traditionally that's where he is. But right. Anyway, we're speculating grossly with literally nothing to go off of. But Cable's just one of the largest X-Men faces. Like, there's no way, or mutant faces. Like, there's just no way he's not going to be involved. His face is gigantic on this cover. It's true. So basically, yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. No, go ahead. God damn it! You were about to talk plot. I wasn't. So you go first. And then no. I want to hear what you had to say. So I was going to say one thing that I really liked about this book is that in the context of what it is, it's an amazing wrap up for a series. It's a 12-issue series, so there's not like there's a million different plot points that had to be resolved, but we get a definitive sort of fulfillment on the mutant babies. We get a particular scene where we see the mutant babies being returned to their parents, even though we do get a little bit of the mystery with the baby having the glowing eye. So it might be another Strife clone being left behind. Oh shit. I also really like that we see Old Man Cable taking the Galadorian Knight and like hitting him with the sword, and he becomes like a seed on the planet. Yeah. And they allude to the point that, okay, maybe he's going to seed this planet and Galador will rise again. And then, of course, I can never remember which Cuckoo sister it is. I think it's the main one. Esme. Yeah. Like you see them kind of like make up and be good with each other right before he leaves. And you're like, oh, well, damn. Like, I wonder if that ever turned out. And then you get to see that little flashback where it's right before we see Old Man Cable blow himself up so that he can get back involved. We see an older Esme, like, she says, go easy on him. Like, he's got a soft spot on, I've got a soft spot for him or something like that. Yeah. So I thought that was a really cool, like, little glimpse into the future. Yeah. The only thing I would add to that is, Old Man Cable and Young Man Cable, or Young Cable, have a dialogue prior to Young Cable going back into the future. And he basically says, like, hey, how is Krakoa gonna work? Is this good? Like, is it gonna work, or is it gonna end up badly? And Cable goes, Krakoa was a good thing, and it was a great thing. And he basically confirms that it is a success, and it is something that is needed, and that it was well worth whatever the mutants fought to do with it, right? So that, I feel like that's a good, like, hey, I know we quite literally are about to go through some shit with Inferno coming up. Like, it's about to get really nasty. But if there's a glimmer of hope, Old Man Cable's like, it's totally worth it. So don't worry. And I thought that was kind of nice. I feel like that's who knows if that's really true or not. But if it's coming from Cable, which, again, when he first shows up, he's kind of like, we're at Krakoa now. Like, that's where we are right now in the current timeline. Gotcha. Which was kind of nice. So, everything else was great. The Deadpool action, the Esme, making up and all that jazz. The one thing that I thought was interesting, though, is when he goes back, the Old Man Cable says, like, target sword. Did that seem odd to you?
Says what?
He says target something about sword. Like, he says, like... let me try to find it. You'll find it, too. But
target the sword station. Because that's where he's headed.
But are they targeting the actual sword? Like, is that just a destination, or is that, like, hey...
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's just him saying where he's going. Like, he talks to the little Betty shit that's on his arm.
Okay, I read that as, like, go target sword. Not...
Huh?
Like, go target the sword organization. Go target sword, not your destination is sword. Does that make sense?
No.
Don't, like, go to sword. No, I took it as Old Man Cable saying, you need to go fight sword.
No, he was talking to his arm saying, let's go, like, take me to the sword station.
Then I was wrong. When I read that, I was like, oh shit. Because, I just read Abigail being a complete, total selfish asshole. And then now we've got, I thought Cable was like, no, you got to go take him out. So.
Well, Kwaku does say, he says, I think Old Man Cable will be part of the sword going forward. I remember there was a data page where Brand is considering letting him in on her galactic plans. And that was before he came back. So I think now would be the time to bring him in, since now she has the most experienced version of him she could want.
Ooh. All right. Well, hey, I'm down for it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Patty says he understands you. So.
I understand. See, I know what
Listen, I'm not saying that you're the dumb
one.
Maybe
crazy.
I'm the dumb one. I don't know. Oh, well, you're definitely crazy. No, you are crazy. That's not what we're arguing.
I will
here.
miss this book. I will miss the Phil Noto covers.
And interiors. Great interiors.
I will miss all of it. I loved the, reminiscing of, Domino and Deadpool. Like, I thought the Deadpool issue was fantastic, where he had to go steal the arm. It was all good. This was, I feel like it started a little slow, but then it really picked up, and now it's over. I'm like, God damn it. I wanted it to keep going. So, looking forward to hopefully getting Cable either in Sword or X-Force or X-Men, whatever the case may be. Loved it, and it'd be nice to see him just sprinkled throughout the X books as we go. So that ends our X books for the week. Next up, we're jumping into Beta Ray Bill number 5. I'm sad. I'm really sad.
Hey, I'm gonna throw you for a curve and tell you to go ahead and push that button.
That's the gas.
Oh, didn't realize this was your pick of the week.
It's my pick of the week too.
Okay, well, there you go.
It edged out only because this issue is fucking epic.
Yeah,
if you
want to see Daniel Warren Johnson like absolutely lose his mind writing or drawing fight scenes, like this is it.
Dude.
Like just the very first page, you see Bill like fucking just screaming, and it's
dude,
this amazing.
It's insane.
It's so good.
Any of y'all that are watching right now that haven't, if you've decided to wait until all the issues come out to get like a collected version, I know the trade paperback is coming out in September, and I'm sure there'll be a hardcover. Yes, go get it. It is fantastic. This is the only negative thing I have to say about this book is that there is no and we'll see Beta Ray Bill next time in blah blah blah. Like, it's a definitive story. It is over. Now, that being said, I think we will see what happened in this story mentioned and or seen in other stories. If there's a new Beta Ray Bill book, or if he shows up in Thor for a while or whatever, we will see the elements that Warren created in other Marvel books. So I'm talking Scuttlebutt, I'm talking the sword, Surtur's sword, I'm talking the Scuttlebutt axe. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
I think we're gonna see it all. I think we're gonna see the transformation. I think this book will have weight and will, whether it's in Donny Cates' Thor or in Venom or in Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever. Whenever we see Beta Ray Bill next, whatever happened in this book will be continuing on. But that is my only criticism is the fact that it's over.
See, I actually have one criticism,
Okay.
and I literally just picked this as my pick of the week. This is in my top 5 for like series of the year.
Okay.
But Daniel Warren Johnson did my boy so damn dirty.
Yeah.
He turns him into a child at the end.
He just
Like he
young,
makes
bro.
no. We've seen what Beta Ray Bill looks like, non-horsed, and it is not like that at all.
Maybe that's the power of the sword. Maybe it made him
No,
younger.
no. You can't explain it away. It's bad. I'm sorry.
Well, maybe you need
the
to,
art and the rest of the book is so good, it totally makes up for it.
Maybe,
but it's still there.
Maybe you need to tweet him. Be like, "Yo, what's up?"
I'll be like, "Man, D, what'd you do, man? What'd you do?"
Anyway, we get an epic throwdown between Beta Ray Bill and Surtur. At the beginning of the book, it's like Surtur's just like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like, quite literally is fighting him as a giant, and Beta he just calls him out. He's like, "Fight me, fight me on equal ground." And so he shrinks himself down, and it's literally a WWE brawl, just smash and throwing and just it's epic, right? And then I need to open it up because this was like one of the first books I read, so I need to kind of get a little bit of a refresher here. So they start fighting. And the entire time they're fighting, who is it? Scourge.
Yeah.
Scourge is talking to Scuttlebutt, and Scuttlebutt's like, "Look, I need your help for something, and you're the only one that can do this." And I was like, "What the fuck?" You doing? And so she's slowly transforming the ship into something, and while she's transforming the ship, Beta and Surtur are fighting. Pip gets into it. He gets his ass fucking blown away. Gets a hole punched through him. And they're getting ready for this epic battle. And at one point, Beta impales Surtur onto like a top of a tower, and Surtur's like, "Fuck this!" And he turns into a giant again, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you now. It's over. Like, I've had enough of this." And we look back to Scourge and Scuttlebutt, and I'm gonna put this on the camera. She basically transforms her entire being into a giant gun. So she takes her robot form and fuses it into the ship, and the ship turns into a massive blaster. So I'm going to show you the first panel before it's revealed, right? So you kind of see Scourge here with the gun, and she's like, "You're the only one that can do this," yada yada yada. And he's like, "What is this?" And she's like, "You'll see." You turn to the next page. It's a giant ass gun, right? And the best part about this panel, that looks insane. That's the ship turned into a gun. Is Scourge literally has a tear rolling down his eyes, like, "Holy shit, this is the best Christmas present anyone could have ever given me."
Yep.
And he shoots it, and shoots it through. Surtur's blows essentially this entire part of his under his right arm, right?
Yep.
And then we get into the rest of the book, which is Beta lands the blow. He pulls the sword out and just cuts his head off. And then the sword transforms Bill into the kid version of Beta Ray Bill that Nathan does not like.
Tiny little child version.
And then we find out that Pip survives the punch through the gut, and the book basically ends with Beta looking in the mirror, looking out and seeing in the glass reflection his horse self. So it's all of this pain, all of this self-reflection is still there with Beta. No matter how he tries to hide it, he's still this horse-looking superhero. And it ended, and that's kind of how it ends. He still has Scuttlebutt. Scuttlebutt is still there, by his side. They still have the giant ship. I feel like Daniel Warren Johnson he created more awesomeness for Beta Ray Bill.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, and Mike said actually a couple different things. Said Daniel Warren Johnson did a few director's commentary for a few of the Beta Ray Bill issues on his YouTube channel. Definitely worth a watch if you have spare time. Interesting to see his process. I need to watch that for sure.
Yeah.
And he also said Mike Spicer on colors is chef's kiss, which I totally agree. I 100% agree. They work together often, and they do really well together.
Yeah, the coloring on the book, fantastic. Anyway, man, I was taking a sip. Either way, yeah, pick of the week, fantastic series. Sad to see it go. I hope we get more. I can't wait to see what Daniel Warren Johnson's next project is, whether it's with Marvel or DC or independent. Whatever it is, I'm picking it up. I don't care.
Right, for sure.
And I'm still on the hunt for the Murder Falcon trade. Like, I still need to find that because I really want to read that. I know it's kind of hard to find, but highly recommend. Yeah, you're totally right. Top 10, if not top 5, comic book miniseries of the year, right here. I'm so glad it. And I'm sure if Jacob's watching this over from the show, he's probably like, "Y'all are amazing. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. I'm glad you like my favorite comic book."
Yeah, that's totally how he would be.
Patty says this series is 1000% visually pleasing, and I'd turn every cover into a poster if I could. I agree with that. Totally, 100%. And Mike says it's going to be, or he believes it's an Image book. Hey, cool.
Okay.
For independence.
Nice.
Wrestling comic. I don't care. I'll do it. Sure. Either way, Beta Ray Bill #5, fantastic issue, fantastic series. Sad to see it go. I was waiting for the back end of the book. Now, like you said, the back end of the book where he writes the letters to everybody. What I really liked is him commenting how hard it was to actually finish the book. Like, he was struggling, with the pandemic going on, and him having this idea and then like finishing it and getting it through. I like that he was that honest at the back of the book. I'm glad that he told that to the readers and just said, like, hey, this wasn't a cakewalk. Like, I put my heart and soul into this, and actually was kind of lost my soul there for a minute, and I had to kind of readjust and find my way again. And I feel like that's kind of a commentary of what Beta was really dealing with in this book. Like just losing yourself and trying to find your identity again.
Right.
This is a fantastic book, man. I'm so glad. I'm actually really happy that this is your pick of the week, because then I get to hit this button.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
Pick of the week.
Nice. All right. Let's see. One more thing. The other thing that Mike says, and he's doing a short 8-page for Deadpool Red, White, Blood. Hell yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Daredevil 32. Quick commentary. Really liked it. I will still commit to the fact that I'm kind of done with Daredevil being in jail. I know we're not getting out anytime soon, or at least not until potentially November. But no, I liked it. I really, really. I mean, the artwork wasn't bad in this book, but it wasn't Chichetto. And until we get Chichetto, I'm a little disappointed.
It wasn't Chichetto, and you're right. I usually am kind of tired with Matt being in jail. This particular issue, I didn't like it. It worked well.
No, yeah.
I have a feeling that we're probably not going to be here too. I mean, unless you went and looked at October solicitations and we're still there.
You're still there.
Okay, well.
Well, and it's because we've got this subplot of the FBI trying to figure out why this jail is corrupt.
That makes sense.
I get that.
Well, and you also, like, if you're going to make Elektra Daredevil, you need to leave her there for a while. You don't just need to do, 3 issues, so I get that. Well, the one thing that I think Chip does really well is he continues to balance multiple storylines going on throughout the book. Daredevil book is very much a Daredevil world book. Like, it's we're constantly dropping into not just Matt Murdock, but we're dropping in on Elektra now consistently. We're dropping in on Kingpin every issue. We're dropping in on his brother and Kingpin's son, and some form of the criminal underground. And to me it flows really well. It doesn't feel very choppy. So basically, in this book, we see that oh god, feels really beefy. Yeah. The main plot behind this issue is Bullseye's on the loose and he's murdering people in Manhattan. He's just laying into people, sniper fire, and I mean, I think by the end of this issue, he's like up to like 38 people killed or something. Like, it's crazy.
Well, and then the big reveal is apparently there are multiple Bullseye.
Yeah. So yeah, the last page is Elektra getting a shank in the back by one Bullseye, while there's another behind her holding a gun to him or to her, and another way up on another side of the building. And so you're like, wait, like obviously, like there's something going on here, and Elektra's in serious trouble.
Serious trouble.
And then with Matt, you've got this plot that was introduced in the last issue where the FBI thinks that, you know, people are dying in the prison because of some type of labor issues. I don't remember the exact detail, but they want Matt to figure it out. And of course, he gets put in solitary for the brawl that happened in the previous issue. And
Blueberry. Sorry, she said
no,
said hello.
You're good. And so I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
FBI.
Yeah, FBI. Yeah.
Secret agent.
So, whatever. I think you're right, and I think Jaden's right too. He said it's taking too long for Daredevil to get out in his own comic. But I think what I said is kind of the reason why, whether that's the right or not. But it's like, all right, we made someone else Daredevil. Like, we gotta like do it for a while, and the only way to do that is to have Murdoch somewhere else.
I think the only story, you know, because there's 3 storylines going on in the book, right? So there's Daredevil in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say 4. Daredevil in jail. Elektra is Daredevil. Kingpin with Typhoid Mary.
Yep.
And you have Kingpin's son, or
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, with him and the fake Matt Murdock. That is the weakest storyline in the entire book. Like,
it is, but I think it's probably going to be pretty important.
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying it's not. It's just when I read it, I was like, yeah, okay, like, you know, like I wasn't down with the fake Matt Murdock anyway. I think it's kind of silly. So, you know, we'll see where it goes. Obviously, he's got some ties to the Hand and all that jazz. But overall, it was a solid issue. Like, I didn't read this issue going like, oh, I'm exhausted. I was like, this was fun. I'm ready for the next issue. And I think the next issue, the cover is Matt Murdock like burning through, or Daredevil burning through his prison outfit. So that's gonna be dope.
I will say that the one thing that I think makes this book stand apart from a lot of other books is Chip's ability to I don't know, bring light to certain social situations that I think are sometimes ignored in comic books. And he does a really, really good job, and it's very quick and subtle, but I think it's good. At the very beginning of the book, Typhoid Mary basically says, I'm going out to find Bullseye if he's, you know, because Kingpin is under lockdown. And she's like, I'm your head of security. I got to go out there and find him. That's my job. And he's like, no, like you need to stay here with me, and like stands up and grabs her arm. And she turns around and says, like, stop, we're not going to do this. We're not going to keep trying to pressure each other into doing what we want. She's like, if you want me to stay, you can ask. Yeah. And it's literally just a simple 3-panel scene, but it just shows you like the kind of the redemptive nature that I think, you know, twisted redemptive nature for sure, because these are still bad people. But like, I think it just shows you that, you know, Chip recognizes that there is a lot of bad traits and habits that we see from villains in comic books, and maybe we can clean that up a little bit, that they don't have to be little dick bags. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Quiku says where the experiments of Fisk had done on Bullseye, a way of giving other people his level of aim, but as a side effect, they just become him. This would explain all the people dying in the jail and multiple.
Wow, that's a really good theory.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So like, they're not literally Bullseye, but they've gone crazy enough to where his psyche is basically the only thing they have left.
Printed onto them, yeah.
Ooh, I like that.
I like it a lot. Well, either way, enjoying it. Zdarsky, weaving gold. Can't wait to see more. All right, next up we have Dan Slott's Fantastic Four, issue 34.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. It felt kind of gimmicky in the sense, like you were saying before. I think we said this in the Hall video. You know, Doom trying to make peace. Oh, you wronged me. Now I'm going to kill you all. That's basically this issue in a nutshell. the big thing that happens in this book is Johnny Blaze gets, or not Johnny Blaze, Johnny Storm gets a massive upgrade.
Upgrade? Would you say upgrade?
Well, in Doom's vocabulary and the sense of the true Human Torch, yes. But no, you're right. It's not. He
doesn't get more power. He just feels like he's burning.
No. He says he's quite literally he's so hot that he can't even control his. He's like a supernova right now.
Okay.
Because he's like Okay, well, let's get into the book first before we're jumping.
Go ahead.
Essentially, it's just a big throwdown between Doom and the Fantastic Four and Namor and Black Panther, and Doom just going all out, just completely pissed that this went the way that really I'm sure he knew this was going to happen. Like, it was never going to be peace amongst the Fantastic Four, but he made it so that it looked like it was, and now they feel like shit for the fact that it fell and crumbled, right? And we see again a little bit more of a redemption for what's her name, the bride, Victorious, yes. So she still has these human feelings for Johnny, making sure that he doesn't get hurt, but she's still loyal to Doom at the same time. So we see a little bit of that. But the big thing is again, Doom supercharges the Human Torch to the point where his powers are essentially increasing so much that it feels like he's burning inside, but also he can't go for it.
I was just going to say, just so everyone's on the same page, this is what it says. It says, it feels like you're burning alive from the inside, doesn't it? And he says, yeah, this is my gift to you. From this day onward, you shall be a true Human Torch, an eternal flame that can never be extinguished, unable to touch anyone without setting them ablaze. So he is now wholly and truly a Human Torch. He can't flame off and walk into the house and live a normal human life, because he is literally always going to be on fire now.
And so he's not red and orange anymore. He's just white. Like, he's a white hot flame. And so
whitish, bluish.
Yeah. And so he, the issue, that's the next big solve essentially, is how are we going to fix Johnny? And Mr. Fantastic's like, I'm working on it. I don't think it's going to be that big of a I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'm sure it'll last for 3 or 4 issues, and then something will happen. But that's kind of this issue in a nutshell. Is just Doom is still pissed off at everybody. He still sees everybody as a threat. Victorious stays with Doom. She actually turns herself into I couldn't tell. Did she get new armor, or did she turn herself into a robot?
She Doomanized herself. She's gonna cover her face forever and be a female Doom, essentially. That's what I got out of it.
Patty says a living hell, not an upgrade. Haha.
Exactly. That was what I was like. It's that is not an upgrade in the slightest bit.
But he's more powerful. He is more powerful.
Sure. Yeah.
That's an upgrade. Anyway.
Whatever.
Doesn't mean it's a good upgrade. It was okay. It wasn't a bad issue. RB Silva, fantastic on the art.
So good.
But, it just was kind of vanilla, middle of the road for me.
I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more if it hadn't been for the circumstances that we were here. And Reed says it himself. Literally, Dan Slott understands the problem of what he's doing, and he writes it in his own book. Because the Thing says, what were we thinking? There's no way Doom was going to finally make nice with us. And then Reed literally says, no, I think he was truly ready this time. We ruined our one opportunity to keep the world safe from Victor Von Doom. Because now there is no world in which I can imagine he would ever concede to calling me his best man. Yep. And it's yeah, exactly, Dan. So why did you put them in this position to begin with? I don't know. I don't understand why we keep doing this back and forth with Victor. Books. Okay, you're right. But it frustrates me as a Doom fan that I think Doom constantly sitting on the edge of is he good, is he bad, makes him way, way more intriguing than him just being another villain that pops up sometimes. And it seems like this is supposed to be the concession that at least for the Fantastic Four, he's just all villain. like, well, okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. And you know, it's almost like Doom is not necessarily that important to the Fantastic Four issues, rather than like, you know, all the other issues that he's going to be in, Guardians, Sword, you know, all that
Right.
stuff. Jaden says, because Nate, just because. Just as.
I know.
That's Fantastic Four 34. I think the next issue we get is the 60th anniversary, right?
I believe so.
If not, it's the next week. So that is that. All right. Next up, we have Amazing Fantasies #1. You did not read this, right?
I did not.
This shit's crazy. This was almost my pick of the week. Essentially, you get 3 stories in one that all connect into one universe. You start off with Captain America in World War II, getting ready to. They're U-boat hunting, right? They're looking for submarines, and you know, it's a classic Cap. So he's like, "All right, son, we're gonna fight some Nazis." You know, that's how he talks. And so while they're doing it, something attacks the boat that he's on, and Cap loses consciousness, and he wakes up on a beach, basically half naked, long hair and a beard, like almost like his time has passed. And he's trying to figure out where he is. He gets attacked by a giant flying lion. Somehow he gets his shield back. He finds his shield, and right as the lion's about to attack him, it gets picked up by a dragon, and he throws his shield to save the lion, and the lion's like, I'll remember that. Right? Then the second story is Black Widow as a child, or just basically initiated through the Red Room, and she plans her escape. She gets out, and she's being tracked by the other widows, and then she tries to escape, and when she gets to the rendezvous where she's gonna rendezvous, the agent that's supposed to help her escape is double crosses her, and he's like, this was a test. I was trying to see if you'd stay true to the Red Room. Clearly you're not. And so when it looks like something happens to her, she blacks out, she wakes up in a reality, and I don't remember what her reality is. I remember what Spider-Man's is, but I don't remember her, so let me look at this really quick. She wakes up, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, let's see. No, she just blacks out. We don't even see where she goes. Then we cut to Spider-Man fighting the Goblin. He's fighting him, and at one point the Goblin blows something up, and he tries to like shield the explosion to fall on people. He blacks out, and he wakes up. He wakes up in a pot of boiling water, surrounded by humanoid lizards and frogs, basically getting ready to eat him.
Oh,
I'm telling you, this book is crazy.
Yeah.
And right as he's about to like kick the bucket, someone shows up, like a humanoid that's wearing a eagle mask, like a big giant bird mask, and saves Spider-Man. And he gets saved, and then he gets brought to a camp, and the woman that was wearing the mask shows herself. I don't know who it is. I can't remember who it is, but it's somebody. It's somebody that's, he kind of recognizes her, but he doesn't say what her name is. And she's brought to a village where Peter's uncle is still alive, right? And he's like, holy shit, Uncle Ben. He's like, oh, you're here. You made it. And they hug it out. And he's like, what the fuck's going on? He's like, oh, just to let you know, you're dead. And you're in this new reality where this is where your soul goes, right? So Captain America, Black Widow, and then I just scrolled through. Black Widow ends up being like captured by orcs and is being taken to like a giant like tower. But basically, Uncle Ben's like, you're here now. This is a reality. This is where you go when you die. We can finally start. And you're like, what? And that's how the issue ends. And so we've got basically Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Captain America have passed away. Which Goblin? Green Goblin.
Hey, what's up, Maddie?
They've all died apparently in 616 reality, and now are in this fantasy world. Fucking nuts. And at first I was like, what is this? And then when that last page was like, yep, you got me. Hook, line, and sinker. It's a 5-issue miniseries. I'm on it. I love the covers. Was not expecting to like this. I was like, I was going to give it a chance, but damn, dude, this is crazy. This is balls to the wall. Insane.
This will have to be a trade pickup for me because it sounds interesting.
It's cool. Like
too overwhelmed.
Like when it first started with Cap, I was like, I don't know, and then this whole bit of him like waking up on an island, it just got insane. So, you know, if you're looking to kind of beef up your if you're looking to beef up your pool, I would highly recommend this. It looks like fun. You know, maybe issue 2 will let me down, but as of right now, Amazing Fantasies is pretty freaking cool.
Yes. Also, I want to bring this up because I think this is an amazing point from the Fantastic Four book. Quaku said, "I hope Slott doesn't use Reed fixing Johnny to create pointless tension between Ben and Reed. Also, this is the part I really like. Also, this would work better if Victorious intentionally embarrassed Doom because she didn't want him to be peaceful, because that's not the vision of Doom that she saw, that she knows Doom as. So like she sees Doom being peaceful with the Fantastic Four and choosing Reed to be his best man, and she's like, whoa, you're supposed to be like this badass who hates the Fantastic Four, so now I'm going to screw you over because this isn't the right Doom. That's... Quaker, you need to start writing comics, man.
Yeah, dude, I like it.
I like how he's coming up with better ideas than Slot did just on a YouTube chat.
I dig it. All right, next up, we're jumping into Valkyries number 4 from Jason Aaron. Yeah, before we started the show, you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this book, and I agree with you. I don't know what the hell's going on. But that being said, this issue felt like the most cohesive book out of the 4.
Okay.
You know, it's clear that Valkyrie is being pushed into becoming a caregiver to these newly anointed birthed gods that I don't remember her name, Hela's wife,
Carnilla,
stole Carnilla. And then, you know, we get this, I don't know what the point is of Thor having a conversation with Runa or whatever her name is, about the axe. Yeah, you know, overall, this one's going to be quick. This probably should have been an honorable mentions. You know, we're coming to a conclusion, which is, I think, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I was like, oh man, he's gonna come up with something because I really don't got it.
I think I do, which is that these 3 gods have been selfishly made and were stolen from mortals to fill a void of Canella. And Hela shows up and she's like, "The fuck you do, right?" Yeah. And so, I think where I'm getting lost is what's up with the beast that was going after Loki. Like, he gets killed in this issue by Kraven. The beast, the wolf that
more.
Yeah, like
I don't think he gets killed. I think he just gets hurt.
I like that character. I hope we get more of that character because it feels like it's a character that's a villain that's trying to figure out if it can be an anti-hero. And I hope we see more of that character. And again, I still like Jane Foster as the Valkyrie, and I hope we continue that. I hope issue 5 comes along and it's like, and Valkyrie's adventure will continue starting in November. I hope that happens.
Yeah, me too.
I am still sore and still cross at the fact that we don't have an ongoing Valkyries book. It was a really good book. And so to put it in... Now, the best thing about this book, the artwork.
Well, yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, what's the name of the Groenbeck?
No, that's the writer. Deulius.
Deulius. Shit, dude. Like, it belongs in a museum. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you don't really see a flaw. Like, usually there's like this one thing, like maybe the artist draws the eyes just a little weird. No, it literally looks like a movie. It's insane.
No, I agree. It's very good.
It's so good. But again, big old question mark on this book. Hopefully issue 5 will tie it up and just really like sugarcoat like what the hell's going on in this book, because I feel like Aaron is like, he is off in another world with this story. Like, did I miss something? Should I have read something before this? Like,
right.
I feel like I'm missing it. So that's Valkyries number 4. All right, Black Cat number 8. We're jumping into the Infinity Score Part 1. This essentially is a heist book, first issue, and all she's trying to do, and I think that's what we're going to be doing in each part, is getting each person that has been infused with the stone. So the first person that she goes and finds and gets is
Star.
She finds Star. Star has been locked into a lead coffin, and she gets him. She gets her, and she gets her by stealing her. What the hell am I doing? Stealing her from Nick Fury. So we get a
Nick Fury Jr.
Nick Fury Jr.
The one that's been in our Infinite Destinies stories.
Yep. So he's been hiding all of these infinite beings, and so she steals from him. That's this issue essentially in a nutshell. It was really good, but we still don't know what she's doing. Is she trying to secure the stones to get her own reality made? Is she trying to secure the stones because she had a vision? We don't know yet. And so there's a lot of mystery involved in this McKay Black Cat issue number 8. That's not a bad thing. I enjoyed it. I thought the arc was good. I felt like there should have been a little bit more substance in the book, because we don't know why she's going after the stones.
There was a lot of telling, not showing in this issue that made it a full issue. I think this easily could have been just half of one issue.
I agree.
But it was still good, and I'm sure when the run's complete, it'll be nice and it'll flow
make
well.
All sense, yeah. And then as I've got to say this is my cover of the week. It's PP cover.
Of course, love the PP covers.
Such a good cover. He's killing it. So I love it to death. Anyway,
the death. Oh my god.
Let's talk about Eternal 6.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about my favorite cover of the week.
Go ahead.
It's Assad Ribic, but it has to be. It's automatic. Like, it just Assad Ribic. That's it.
For you, yes. Again, I felt like this was the most cohesive Eternals book since the issue or the arc has started.
Sure.
Basically, I don't know any of the Eternals' names, so I'm not gonna
Nope.
even try to do that. So one Eternal essentially has realized what the issue is with being an Eternal, right?
Actually, I think that's Phobos.
Phobos? Okay. So Phobos has realized the issue of the Eternals. It's not all rainbows and butterflies with the Eternals. So the Eternals came to the realization in the Avengers run that there was no purpose of them. They're just basically machines. They're an experiment from the Celestials. Phobos has realized that there is a cost to when every time an Eternal is died and resurrected. It's kind of assumed that they're just kind of resurrected and nothing is weighed or measured. Well, that's never really the case. There's always an action and a reaction. What's the thing from Full Metal? Equivalent exchange, right? You can't just make something out of nothing. Something has to be paid for. And so that's what we get in this book. We find out that when an Eternal dies, a human life is exhausted in order for them to become back to life, right? That's the whole thing. So he came to that realization, and so what does he do? He brings Thanos into existence. He puts a failsafe in Thanos in case if he becomes out of line and unruly. And he uses Thanos as a distraction to the Eternals so that he can destroy the machine, a.k.a. the Earth. Or purify it, I think is what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
But then he realizes that he can't, that he fucked up. So then he calls the Eternals, they save it, and then they come to the realization again. Well, Icarus saves the day, essentially. And they come to the realization that every time they die, a human is killed in order for them to be brought back to life. Yep. And the machine has known this entirely. He's never told, or the machine's never told the Eternals this. Though I think it's Cersei that has also known this.
Cersei's known the whole time, yeah.
She's known the whole time. So the big drop outside of what they do after this is when Icarus is resurrected because he dies trying to save the machine, which he does. He infuses himself into the core of the Earth. When he is resurrected, the person that is killed is the boy that he's been told to keep alive.
Yep.
So
that's why he felt the connection too.
Right. The connection to the boy is because that's the resurrection soul that he needs in order to come back to life. So, they all find this out. The other big thing is Thanos is on the run, and Phobos cannot remember how to deactivate Thanos. So there's that. And so the Eternals in turn feel betrayed. So who do they go to rectify the problem or join? The Deviants. So the issue ends with the Eternals going to the Deviants and saying, we want to play ball. You know, again, from the past 6 issues, it's been like, you know, world building, and kind of mystery. And I feel like this was for me personally, I felt like, oh, that's what's going on.
Right.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. The art inside is fantastic too. Like, honestly, like I said this before, but I will keep picking this book up as long as Asad Rivik is on. The art, no matter how confused I am, I'll just pick it up just to stare at the cool art.
Yeah, it was good. I'm even more interested in seeing the one-shot Thanos Eternal book that's coming out. It's just got a little bit more weight to it now, so we'll see how that goes. And I also really want to get to know more about Gilgamesh in this book. Like, he was badass in this book. Like, he was kicking some major ass. So, either way, and yeah, I think that was the other cool thing about the book is when he finds about the realization of what's going on, he just kind of looks at his hands like, fuck. Like, I've been killing y'all for millions of years, and I've been just killing people. Which I thought was pretty cool. So, good book. All right, next up, our last Marvel book for the night until we get to honorable mentions, and that's Star Wars High Republic issue 7.
Yes.
It was good. It's okay.
Yeah, it was like a B. So we're still kind of continuing on with the Dren gear a little bit. Avar Kriss, you know, the main Jedi leader, has taken a coalition of like Hutt, weird Hutt alliance to wild space to go find the Drengar, I can't remember how to say it, but the homeland, and try to defeat them. And this issue doesn't actually follow that, though. This issue follows, what's her name? Tess? Or
yes, Tess. I think it's Tess.
Hold on, I want to make sure. Trennis.
Tennis.
And Trennis. Anyway, it follows her. She was able to tap into the Drengar hive mind, and that's how she was able to find the home planet. But she is having flashbacks. She is still having some kind of connection to this negative side. I don't want to say negative side of the Force, but this negative energy. And she gets dispatched to go help some. I don't remember exactly what something from the Rysek sector. And it was like, hey, they need a Jedi out there to go help. And it's basically the Nile show up and are just trying to, take over a little small station so that they can use it for bad. Who knows? It's irrelevant. But while she's there, she kind of gets her ass kicked by the Nile, who, some of them are pretty strong, but some of them are just kind of grunts. Like, they're just supposed to be like, they're stormtroopers there to get their asses kicked. And she really isn't able to hold her own, but she luckily is saved by another Jedi who is not a temple Jedi. She's like, I think she calls herself a wayward Jedi. I thought,
if I'm not mistaken, is it wayward? I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Whatever word she uses has been used before, I believe, in other Star Wars lore.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What is it?
Her name is Orla Jarini. Let's see.
It's been used before. It's basically a being that is only beholden to the Force. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
This group doesn't have. They're not, part of the light, or whatever you call it, or the dark side. They're neutral. They're the gray Jedi essentially. And if I'm not mistaken, again, we're getting kind of deep here, but from what I've read and seen, I think some of the guards,
the Wayseekers.
Wayseekers, yes. So if I'm not mistaken, and I could be wrong on this, but I believe at Jedi temples, the guards at the Jedi temples are also Wayseekers. Like, they're neutral. They do not. They are just. They're gray. They don't. If this was a MMO, right? Or is that the right word?
Yeah.
Or, and you have to make a decision. You're balancing your choices. Like, oh, I'll force choke you, but then I'll heal your wounds. So you never really pick a side. You're just kind of down the middle.
Yes. Anyway.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm just saying that was a long wormhole.
Shut up.
We're introduced to this new Jedi. It seems like she's going to be involved for a while. But basically, she saves the day. She saves Trinus. But then Trinus all of a sudden gets a vision. And it's a vision from the Dringir that says, "You've already lost." And we see this big, giant spread of what looks to be the skeleton of Avar Kriss dead. Which is big dumb because it's very obvious that she is not dead.
Big dumb.
She's like one of the most integral characters in all of the High Republic, even outside of the comic books. Apparently so, she's not dead.
Straight up dead.
So, it was okay. It wasn't that great, but I'm hoping that this introduction of this new character will pick the story up a little bit.
She did. All right, next.
She did.
That's our last Marvel book. Next up, we have from Tom Taylor, Superman, Son of Kal-El, issue number 1.
Yeah.
The beginning story of the darling exploits of the 21st century Superman. 22 pages of action, all in color. Yeah, I enjoyed this. It definitely felt like a Tom Taylor book, which I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like a carbon copy of Nightwing, which I also really liked.
For sure. I don't know why you would be afraid of that.
I was just worried. I was worried that it would feel too similar. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, this on the surface, I think this is a pretty plain introduction first issue. Like, it's just basically John saving some people from a fire and then having a conversation with Damian about, how he's confused about his position in the world and in the context of us as a superhero to begin with.
Yeah.
And so, like, when you look at it like that, it's okay. Like, it's not like it's gonna blow you away. It doesn't, it's not like we get introduced to some big giant new characters or that we're gonna, new villains or anything like that. But I actually think Tom Taylor uses this issue to basically tell you exactly what kind of themes he's going to tackle in this book. And I am very much for it if it goes down the road, at least in the way I interpreted it.
Okay.
And this was almost my pick of the week because of that. This was almost my pick of the week because of the promise of what this book is going to be. Made me very excited. But I eventually chose Beta Ray Bill because of the fulfilled promise of what it was. I was like, I can't give Beta Ray Bill not the pick of the week
totally
for
agree.
doing it. I can't give it over anyway.
Oh, it did.
It didn't. So literally, I mean, the plot is very simple. The plot is John shows up and there's some person who has somehow gotten superpowers and the more their anxiety goes up, the hotter and hotter they get, and they've caused these wildfires and they keep getting hotter and the military's like shooting at them. And John basically, saves a bunch of people that are caught in the fires and then stops the fires and then goes in and calms the person down and does all the good stuff, does everything that you're supposed to do. But as soon as he turns this person over to the military, it's like, hey, like, he didn't mean it. He's not a bad person. Like, he just doesn't know how to control his power. And they're like, yeah, we totally get it. And then boom, hit him in the head and knock him unconscious with the butt of a gun. He's like, I'm not going to let my men be in danger, with him being conscious. So it's like, okay. And so John goes to Damian and is, basically using Damian as his therapist. Now, I don't super know the nature of their relationship because I haven't read any of the Super Sons books that have been out in the past. So maybe this is a pretty common thing for them. But he basically just, talks it out. Talks is like, I don't know if I really ended up helping this kid or not. Like, maybe he's going to be in a worse position now. Damian's like, yeah, he could totally be mid-autopsy with his powers being extracted and weaponized right at this very moment. John's like, okay, thanks.
Oh, thanks, man.
But ultimately, what does he say? I think it's Damian that actually says it. They talk about like what it is, what their positions are, and trying to find what their place in the world is. And he says, Damien introduces John to this little, internet stream called The Truth. And he's like, they report on what others are afraid to. And he says, but you're the son of Lois Lane. She's dedicated her life to exposing corruption, injustice, and of course you feel like you should be doing more than just saving people from fires. And Damien literally like points at John and touches the S on his chest. And he's like, what do you want this symbol to stand for? And he says, truth, justice, and a better world for tomorrow. And he says, good, now, basically go out and do it. It's time for Superman. This is actually my favorite line. He says, it's time for Superman to stop fighting the symptoms because you're powerful enough to be the cure. It's just like, oh boy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being overly sympathetic for a situation that it is not what was intended, but it very much feels like a throwback to it's going to trigger some Comicsgate people, but Superman very much was like a character that stood up for like the downtrodden and the minorities, and then just sort of became a superhero that fought aliens. And it very much feels like this is going to be a little bit of a return to that identity as like Superman standing up to, I'm sure it's an evil villain, but it's like an evil villain that's trying to destroy the environment, or an evil villain that's a womanizer, or you know what I mean? Like, it actually seems like there's going to be a little bit of like consequential weight to what he's involved in.
I think you're right, and I think it's gonna, all the controversy right now that's going on with the United States of Captain America, right? With everyone.
Is there controversy?
Oh yeah. Comicsgate and like Fox News, like they're just fucking pissed, so pissed with that book. And like you're saying, like it feels like we're gonna get kind of a mixture of both in this book, which sympathy is the name of the game, right? Like we're we're trying to get back to a level of sympathy and not even just a level of humanness, right? And we're getting that in our literature today, or in our books, or whatever you want to call it. And so I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing. And it's also going to call out, like you said, it's gonna trigger some people, and you're gonna go, cool. Do I want to be with that group or not? Do I want to really listen to that opinion because it's not the same? It's not the good old days of fighting aliens. We're gonna find out, The other thing I was gonna say is, to Jaden's point, the way Damien is drawn in this book, I feel like he should be drawn like this in Robin, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
When we get to Robin, because he looks like a legit, like what he's supposed to look like at his age, right?
You're gonna trigger Jaden. Stop it.
I want to do it. I want to trigger. I want Jaden to get pissed. I want pissed comments. I want my mod to just lose his shit right now. Anyway, that's Superman. I dug it. I'm really looking forward to this issue. I'm glad I put it on my pull list. Super fun. So, next up we have Action Comics from Philip Kennedy Johnson. I like it. But again, I feel like we're just drawing it out. We're drawing out Superman losing his powers. We're drawing out this war world. Like, let's get to the beef. If we're gonna have a beefy haul, let's have some beefy stories.
Right.
It feels like we're just not even speed walking, we're just walking, if that. We're snail pacing right now, and we're just still trying to figure out who these ancient Kryptonians are and why they wear chains and what's the plan. And then we got this fragment from the ship that the Atlanteans don't want to give up, but it's causing trouble, but they don't know what they're doing, but they want to have some form of power amongst the world so that don't fuck with us. Like, that's this book in a nutshell. The only thing that I but I thought that was powerful, was when Lois gave the girl from Warworld the ancient Kryptonian toy, and she like immediately was like, what do you think, I'm a child? And, like, broke it. But then
I didn't understand that.
She got triggered, as Jaden has put in our chat. She's a victim. She's a victim of her circumstance, which is she's been under this regime, and oppression that she doesn't, she can't. In the moment, she just gets triggered really fast. Like she goes straight to emotion. She gets straight to raw emotion and physical threat rather than breaking down what actually happened. Right? She has a block in her mind, and so when she has that discussion with her fellow comrades and saying like she's upset at how she reacted, and how she reacted, so quickly via emotions and action rather than with calmness and foresight. Right.
Right.
That to me was the most powerful part of this book. Everything else, I'm like I could give two shits about this, and I know it's probably important, but this fragment that the Atlanteans have, like, I don't.
Yeah,
care.
I don't care. That the first part of this book felt like a Justice League book and not a Superman book.
100%.
Because of that.
That's what I was gonna say. The Justice League. This is gonna sound bad, but the Justice League action in this book, I thought was a lot better than what we're currently getting in Justice League.
Yeah.
Just saying. It felt, you know what? No one was like, "Hey, there's Batman. That's Batman, and that's the Flash, and that's we didn't get that in this book. It's like it was just kind of known that that's the Justice League, right?
I'm not gonna get behind you on that. So sorry.
All right. Well, when we get a Justice League book next week, I'm gonna be like,
I know you are. I know.
there it is. But overall, it just feels like we're really going slow, and like we need to kind of pick up the pacing a little bit. I didn't think the writing was bad. It's just slow. Like, let's get to it already. Let's move on. Should have been an honorable mentions.
Probably.
Next up after that, we have Batman Detective Comics 1040. We get our original artist that we started this arc with, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. It felt like it felt like the story got back on track here. We're not dealing with the alien sucker Vile. We're not dealing with him. We're back to Bruce. Kind of, this felt more like a Daredevil Batman book than I felt when we put Vile in. It was just kind of like, this is crazy. And then we're back into this whole like Bruce still kind of out on his luck. He's no longer a billionaire, and he's dealing with his real world problems as Bruce rather than Batman.
Well, and that was the thing that we were always saying, right? Is that Batman felt like a Batman and Family book, and Detective Comics felt like a Bruce Wayne book. Mm-hmm. And with the Vile arc, it did very much feel like a Batman book. And we lost a little bit of that identity. And this book definitely went back to being a Bruce Wayne book, at least in this issue. Mm-hmm. I would almost say, I don't want to say to a fault, but it was almost jarring. Like we were just like all Batman, and then just like boom, now we're like back to the Bruce Wayne, and it was like, we've been interweaving through this Vile and the Worth, and then Penguin getting involved in a little bit, and it's just, I think it could be done a little bit more, I don't know, sequentially. It feels a little too choppy to me.
I totally agree. I think what we did is we got into, like you said, this was a Bruce Wayne book, and we were seeing how he was dealing with the fact that he was no longer a billionaire and getting to know his neighbors and like just deep, which was cool, right? I feel like the Vile and Worth arc was literally filler. It was like, we need 4 issues so that our main artist can get back on track and get us back into this book. That's what I could be wrong, but that's how it felt. It was like, Vile, like, where the fuck did this come from? And then you've got this where we're back into this whole thing, like, how do I be Bruce Wayne, who's no longer hot shit, and Batman at the same time? And so I really enjoyed this issue, but you're right. It's like we were here, then we got thrown down deep with Vile, and now we're back up, and it just, the cohesiveness of it is just not there. There's no connecting of the dots. It's just very jarring.
Yeah.
So that's that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. We basically get Bruce dealing with his problems and going to jail legit, and Worth, connecting the dots with the villains and teaming up with Penguin. So I think the issue ends with Bruce getting out of jail and going to his apartment, and his apartment's on fire.
On fire. Yep.
Because Penguin's going after Bruce first, and then he's going to deal with Batman. Well, I guess you didn't know that Bruce and Batman are the same person. So
nope. 70 years, or 80 years, or however long, he still hasn't figured it out.
So that is that. Next up, we have Huntress, number 1.
Yeah, you didn't read this one, did you?
Not.
So this is, I've been picking these up just because I've been really enjoying just Batman in general in this run, both Detective Comics and Batman. And I wasn't sure, when I first asked Jacob what these issues were supposed to be, he was like, "Oh, it's like, little catch you up issues if you don't really understand who these characters are." And I don't think that's how they're being used anymore. Because I think these are almost being used on like filling story gaps for secondary characters in Batman stories,
Okay.
which I really like. So in Detective Comics, we literally see who is it that's going to look for Huntress in the hospital. I don't know. I mean, you read the issue.
Oh, was that in that book?
Oh my god, yes.
Oracle?
We just talked about this.
Oracle. Batgirl?
It doesn't matter. She was supposed to be in the hospital and she wasn't there. You're just saying shit. And even in Detective Comics, it's like find out what happened to Huntress in Batman's Eager Files. And so literally this issue starts with her busting out of the prison, or excuse me, out of the hospital, and basically having like a little bit of a recap of what happened to her while she's talking to her cat, but like giving you a little bit of a different perspective. And it basically, as she's retelling the story of her getting infected by the parasite from Vile, she realizes that she's having visions, and she doesn't understand what these visions are. And ultimately, what it turns out to be is that even though she's been infected and had the parasite removed, she can still see through the eyes of other infected people. And it's not very clear, but she essentially is able to use these visions to find other infected people throughout Gotham and stop them from killing and infecting other people.
Okay.
Or I guess injuring, because killing them wouldn't be effective. But so this issue is basically her hopping around Gotham, saving people from infected zombie-like creatures walking around and getting them to the hospital so that they can get help. And, basically trying to stop Vile's spread of his parasite, even though he's caught. And then the last person that she speaks to, she realizes that Vile is also looking through these people's eyes and seeing her the whole time. And she's literally is like grabbing a guy and like talking to him through this random guy, and then the parasites burst through his eyeballs, and it's really, really, really gross. Like very gross. Thanks, Spike. And so this issue basically, I think, is
Hold on.
what?
Mike Flower says an upgrade? Question mark.
Yes. Yeah, she's definitely got an upgrade now. So this issue is supposed to be a little bit of a bridge between her appearance in the last issue and then her appearance in the next issue of Detective Comics. Just gives you a little bit of understanding of what she's going through, but I think it kind of shows you a little bit of Vile's powers too. So it's like, oh, this might not be necessary to read, but I don't know, it kind of seems important to me. So I'm glad I picked it up. I'm glad I know what's happening.
Yeah.
And then the issue ends her saying, what is it? They're trying to find out where Batman is, and then Oracle stops and then gets a quick vision and is like, oh, Batman's infected. And so the last page is you see like Vile looking all scary with Batman kind of trapped and her trying to find him. And then it says to be continued in Detective Comics 1041, which is the next issue. So it seems like in the next issue we'll be back to Vile. Batman will get caught up in it, and Huntress will have to save him. So
Yay.
We might not be in our Bruce Wayne Detective Comics book for very long.
Dumb. All right. Continuing the Bat books, we have Robin, issue 4. All right, Jaden, get triggered. Here we go. Yeah, Robin looks atrocious in this book. I will say that right now. That being said, basically, literally what the subplot or subtitle of this book is, which is Training Day with Ra's al Ghul, is basically what we get here. But it's not physical training; it's training of the mind, learning to let go and learning to be more philosophical in your punches, I guess you could say. They tricked me with the cover art. Yeah, essentially, yeah, it's just Ra's al Ghul telling Robin to just, or Damien to fucking let go, and be more open-minded to the world before you go into this tournament, right? Which we also, the tournament in this book gets started with the death of Deathstroke's daughter or something like that. So the tournament is officially started. I think for me, again, we're getting this breadcrumb throughout every issue that we've gotten in 4 issues, which is Damien's subconscious, and or maybe he's actually talking to the spirit of Alfred. That is the end game of this book, or at least this first arc, which is the person that will be resurrected at the end of the book will be Alfred. I'm just calling it now. I just think that's where we're headed. We got to get that guy back somehow, and we're going to do it in this book. So, the big thing is we get the original. Let's see, Quika says the original Robin artist will be back next week. Luckily, okay. Thank you.
Thank goodness.
Ra's al Ghul basically in this book has, so-called turned a new leaf. He's looked at his failures in a more optimistic light. And he's just trying to part some wisdom onto Damien. That's what this book essentially is. So.
Yeah, I felt like this issue was like it felt very filler to me. Like we could have gone without it, but that's fine.
Yeah, it was okay. It was just. I guess I was just waiting for Jaden to get triggered this week. I think that's the only reason why I put this in the actual main part of the show rather than in honorable mentions. I just want to see what he does, what he does in chat. Jaden also says, "I'm actually surprised they didn't resurrect Alfred in the Lazarus Pit." Right. Something's gonna happen. He's coming back, and I think it's gonna be in this book for sure. So that's Robin issue 4.
Yay.
All right, on to our Independence, and we're going to start with Tiny Onions, Department of Truth, issue number 11. We are still on the hunt for Bigfoot, or the people that continue to
believe in Bigfoot.
And we get a little bit of a conclusion in this book, but I'll let you break it down.
We do. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like this is a very not very, but this is probably the least Department of Truth feeling book
I would agree
that I think has come out so far. That's not a bad thing.
No.
But I would say that either Tinian is a insanely good writer. Like I know he is. He's he is probably my favorite writer in all of comics right now. But the prose that we see, so we get a lot more of these journal entry pages. We get I think 10 total. So most of this comic is literally just reading. But either Tinian is just a fantastic prose writer, or we're seeing some father-son issues in his life kind of come up in this book.
I'm thinking it's the latter.
So it's definitely a combination of the both. But basically we see the father, from the previous issue that's obsessed with Bigfoot, writing to his son and basically telling the story of, how his life falls apart and how he becomes obsessed with Bigfoot and how it, causes all kinds of problems. He gets in a fight with his brother and breaks his jaw, and then breaks his hand while punching his brother and breaking his jaw, and how his wife eventually leaves him and takes the kids. His son won't talk to him anymore, and it's just, you see a lot of these problems. And then eventually, in the end of the book, he is there and almost gets killed by the Bigfoot. That he himself is manifesting by his own belief. But luckily, I can't remember that third guy that's with our 2 department people. No, not Hawk and Coulson, the main guy.
Lady. I thought it was a lady.
Is that a lady?
I think it's
Don't look like a lady.
Oh, I thought it was a lady.
It doesn't matter. The other person, the third person,
Yep.
shoots it right as it's about to kill the old man. And Hawk basically just puts his arm around him and say, "Hey, your hunt is done. You're good. Go home. Don't talk about this. You'll be fine." And lets him go. You know, I very much expected Hawk to be like, this guy, we gotta kill this guy. Like he's gonna keep the thought alive, and we just can't let him live. So you see a little bit of humanity in Hawk in this issue. But yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of talk about the origin of Bigfoot, how it kind of started with the Yetis in Mount Everest, and how the Yeti kind of transformed into what is it? Abominable Snowman, and then became Bigfoot over here, which became Sasquatch when Native American folklore got tied in, and all that stuff. But the vast majority of this was the conclusion of our Bigfoot story, the wrap up of this journal entry like story from the father. And honestly, it was kind of sad. I read this and I was like, damn, that was pretty heavy. Like, there's someone's got some dad issues or some, and I don't mean that rude. I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of raw emotion in this book. Well,
it's definitely more played out than, like you would say with Donnie, in how he kind of expresses his daddy issues. They're a little bit more injected into the storyline rather than just kind of upfront and, you know what I mean?
It's good. I liked it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it too. I'm excited to see where we're gonna go next issue. But yeah, it did feel like it was kind of. You're right. It's the least Department of Truth book. Now the artwork in it, fantastic. So we still got crazy, just psychedelic and really weird looking artwork in it. When we did get art panels, like when they're walking on Bigfoot through the forest, I thought was really cool.
Right.
So, anyway.
Yep.
That's that. All right, next we have Barbaric from Vault, issue number 2.
You'll have to take this one.
That's okay, I will.
Yeah.
I liked it. I don't have an issue with it. I don't have a problem with the art. I know, Nate, you're not too happy with it. I still like I feel like this would be a really kick-ass television show, and I hope it does become a television show, like on Adult Swim. It does have very, in my opinion, in what I've watched and read in my past history, manga vibes. You've got an arc. You get your first character, then the second character gets introduced at the end of the first episode. Then the second episode is more centric on the second character and kind of learning their past, and that's what we get in this book. So a witch is a necromancer. Her name is Soren, I believe. And so she's basically showing her past and how she got to the bar at the beginning of the first episode or first issue. And basically she was trying to disconnect to her necromancy powers, right? Like she was trying to disconnect from the darkness. And she went to this church, but the church was actually being it's being haunted, right? Or it's being possessed by a demonic spirit. So when she tried to go there and get answers, she was only going to be used as a sacrifice. So she escaped, and that's how she got in front of Owen. Yada yada yada. So she wants to go back and basically, what's the word? Cleanse. There's a better word for it.
Exercise?
Exercise the demons. That's what she wants to do. And so she recruits Owen, and the axe is like, well, yeah, you got to do it because you got to do you have to do good things, right? And so we get a little bit more of that back and forth between Owen and the axe, where Owen's like, it really fucking sucks that I got to do this. I hate being good. And she's like, well, what do you mean? That seems like a pretty easy life. She's like, well, just because it's good for one person doesn't mean it's good for another. There's always I've seen some gray area in my time being alive. The other thing that would get dropped is she looks at Owen and goes, you're not really alive, but you're not really dead either. And he's like, yeah, I've been around. It's kind of hard to explain. So that was kind of cool. Again, I really enjoy the dialogue between Owen and the axe, and how the axe kind of just interjects here and there, and to the point where Owen's like, don't get this thing riled up. I really don't want to deal with the axe. Just don't play to it.
Yeah.
So they go up to the church. Nobody's there, and then they basically realize that the head demon has been constructing or has constructed this giant tower that is emitting vibes, evil vibes, essentially.
Okay, this book is so much better when you describe it.
Right, dude? Okay, so...
I don't know why it missed me for some reason.
Maybe you
but
read it wrong. Like, you didn't read it wrong. Maybe you read it at a wrong time. Like, maybe
that's,
you need to
that's probably what it was. Yeah.
So she, again, she's connected by necromancy powers, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, necromancy. Mm-hmm.
And so she's got a connection to the darkness. So when she gets in front of this giant tower, she goes like Super Saiyan 3. And she's like, bah! And she gets possessed. And the main demon's like, I don't know why I didn't see it before, but she's pretty much an asset. And so Owen sees this demon. He like turns into this like half snake, half monk. And he's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kill you. And I kind of skipped over one part. When they're getting to the tower, they fight a bunch of souls. And the axe is like, let's go, time to fight. And so the demons or the spirits are like, you can't kill us. And he's like, well, Owen's like, my axe is like mystical, so fuck you. And so he starts cutting the spirits in half, and he's actually killing them. And the spirits
hurting
like,
them.
Yeah, and the spirits are like, why am I feeling pain? I'm already dead. And the best part is when that happens, the axe like thinks it's gonna get like mystical blood, and there's no blood. So the axe is super pissed. He's like, what the fuck? No blood. Why is there no fucking blood? Like, he gets really pissed. So I thought that was great. So anyway, once they get to the tower, she becomes possessed. The main boss shows up, and is Owen and the main demon are about to fight, and he's about to take a swing at him, and Soren shoots like a necromancer beam, boom, and blasts Owen into a wall. And that's how the issue basically, she's possessed, and now he's got to, is he gonna kill Soren, or is he gonna try to save her? We don't know. That's where the issue ends. But I just think the build up, the character development for me for Soren was really cool. And then again, the back and forth between the axe and Owen, I can just like hear the voices in my head of like the character, the voice acting. Like, I was like, this could be such a kick-ass show. Like, I hope it really does become a show. But I feel like it still has all the elements that issue 1 had. It didn't have a slump for me personally. I thought it was a good story, and we're continuing on. Like, I think it's a little bit. I thought that the introduction to this story, which happened in issue 1, was a little abrupt, but I don't feel like they deterred too much. I felt like we got a decent amount of backstory with Soren, and continuing the story with the possessed monks and the church that's holding this giant dark vibe tower. I don't know what it is. I'm still intrigued. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool, and I did like the artwork. I thought the artwork was really cool. I think it's I think the expressions look good. I don't think it's sloppy. I mean, we've read plenty of books where I look at the artwork and I'm like, that doesn't look good. And to me, I feel like it's on point, personally.
Well, I feel like the blade looks kind of photoshopped half of the time. Like, it looks really like blurry when none of the rest of the stuff looks blurry. Okay. But that could just be me, so I'm not gonna.
There's a panel in here that I meant to post for our random panel of the week, and I'm still gonna post it. But when they go into the church and they have to jump into the pit to find out where the tower is, Owen's like he looks at the pit and he's like, hell await. So I was like, hell yeah, it looks so cool. And like, the axe is just like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like, it's absurd, and I think
it is. It is, but it's cool.
It's just not, it's like it's a D&D quest on acid, essentially. Like, that's how I feel like this book is rolling out right now.
Right.
So I dig it. It was almost my pick of the week, but Beta Ray Bill just still smashed everything. So
nice.
That's Barbaric. Next up, we have The Blue Fame, number 3.
Yeah, you didn't pick this up either, did you?
No, I did not.
So it seems as if my worst fears for this book are coming true. So, you know how this book is being told in 2 different stories, right? We've got the one story where he's like this super powerful, badass cosmonaut, space hero, who has been told that he is going to have to represent humans on a galactic council on whether they should be destroyed or not. And then the other story is him on Earth. he's a vigilante hero who is involved in a mass shooting, and he's the only one to survive. My biggest fear was that the space shit wasn't real, and that it was a psychological result of his accident. And while that isn't 100% confirmed in this book, it is very likely and hinted at. So in this issue, we find our main character healed enough to go home. He has a massive cut in his lower stomach and doesn't have full use of his legs. He has to use the 2 walkers, like wedged on your arms to help him get by. And he refuses to be a polite, contributing member of the household. He is living with his sister now, who is like 8 months pregnant. And he's, nothing but trouble. He's an asshole. He's snippy all the time. He's obviously in a lot of pain. Always kind of doped up on Vicodin. And he spends most of his days at the bar down the street just drinking all day. And then we get another scene in space where he learns more about the alien who's supposed to be his like counsel, or not necessarily like a lawyer, but just like aid to like help him the way he needs to be. Right. But you really only learn a little bit about like that alien's life, and the reason why his species was killed is because they were all cowards, and he was the biggest coward of all. He doesn't know why he's living. I don't know. It's weird. The main point to take away from this issue is our main character sitting at the bar at Lou's and is hovering over a piece of paper and is kind of mumbling to himself and writing. And a girl sits down, and it turns out she's a reporter that wants to write a story about him and the other vigilantes, about how it's affecting him and his life and all this different stuff. And multiple times he says things like he says, "Oh, I'm not going to talk to you about that." And she says, "You're not going to talk with me, or you're not going to talk with anybody?" And he says, "Well, not anybody on Earth." And then he says, "Just leave me alone. I have to prepare for my trial." And then later in the issue, his sister says something about, or his sister's wife says something, or husband says something about, what is this trial he's talking about? Like there's no trial. And so it seems like it's very much being hinted very heavily that this space thing is not real. It's in his head. And it's part of his psychosis from an obviously very traumatic experience that he's had. Okay. I think I personally am done with this now, because it hasn't been super strong from the get-go, and I just kind of was hoping that space stuff would pan out a little bit more, and it seems like it's getting less and less. So I think I'm going to dip out here, and then if it wraps up and people are like, yeah, that was pretty good, I'll go pick up the trade. Okay. But Blue Flame was just meh. Just meh.
I gotcha. All right, last book of the pool. No, I'm sorry. We got 2. I'm sorry. I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at this one. Go ahead and tell me about Something's Killing Children, number 18. Something's
Killing the Children 18 is, or we should call this issue 17 and a half, because issue 17 and 18 should have just been one issue. Honestly. Gotcha. This one was very art heavy, not a lot of exposition, which I'm totally okay with. Deledra does great stuff. I really like his style, and like it feels very, I don't know, as soon as I see his art, I feel like, oh yeah, I'm in Something is Killing the Children, the world. Gotcha. But because of that, it read so quickly, but not a lot of plot progressed. I'm totally okay with even a silent issue, but like I need some plot progression or something. Like I need to get like some type of character building or some kind of, I learned a new thing, something. And this was just like kind of a pretty issue, even though there was a regular amount of exposition.
Okay.
Basically, this issue is Erica is being driven out to a farm where she meets his name. Oh, Big Gary. That's his name, Big Gary. Okay. And Big Gary is basically the guy that helps start the process of initiation. And Erica goes out there and has a big breakfast and kind of talks to Gary for a little bit, and then they go into this barn, and he basically, starts. It's all very, very, very dark, and you can barely see what's going on, and kind of creepy and eerie. And he basically says, like, you're gonna have to go through your own path, and you don't have a name anymore. And she brings her little totem, that little octopus thing, and he's like, there's a monster inside that you have to defeat. And the monster, he essentially summons the monster out of the toy, and it's a monster that we've seen before. It's a big giant monster, like scary thing. But you can tell in his face that he is like, whoa, like what the fuck? Yeah. And then he leaves and goes to the woman Jessica, that has brought Erica to the house. Yeah. And he was like, yo, what the fuck? Why did you not warn me? He's like, I thought it was going to be some like half form apparition, like barely even there monster. And that's a full-fledged mother like monster. Like that thing's going to fucking kill her in a second. He was like, you couldn't even give me a warning that I was just sending this girl to her death instantly. Which, I think is a pretty powerful message, because we obviously know Erica gets out of this, but it just not a lot happened. That last ending was like really cool, like seeing all of that in the dark. It was like lit by candlelight, so it was really suggestive. It was really eerie, but just not a lot of plot progression in this one. It's Something's Killing Children. It's all good, and if when you're reading this as a whole collected set, you'll never notice.
Right. So that's Something's Killing the Children. Next up, our last book of the night from Boom Studios, and that is Berserk number 4, Berserker. I know when we were going through the poll, you were like, I wasn't impressed. I can see that, but I will say I did. I liked the conclusion. I feel like we finally wrapped up the conclusion of his origin arc. I'm sure we'll get more. I'm sure we'll get more pastime stuff. It has to. But I feel like we got a conclusion in the sense that we finally got rid of the dickhead dad from Primal Times. So what we get is, another look into our character's backstory and him being used as a weapon from his original village that he's from, and an up-and-comings of his father who's been using him as a war machine. Basically, the tribe gets ambushed while they're out attacking this other group. Another group goes and kills the entire village. They get back. They find out that it was all a ploy to get at the village. Then they get ambushed. The father gets killed. The son lets it happen. Then the son kills himself. And when he kills himself, he lets the enemy quite literally rip him to shreds.
Yep.
And then he realizes that he can't die. And we see there are 3 panels when he realizes that he gets resurrected that I thought were kind of striking. So the doctor's like, how did you feel when you found out that you were immortal? And he doesn't say anything. You just see like the panels of what the emotions he went through when he finds out. So first he's happy, like he's like relieved that he's still alive. Then he's confused, and then he cries because he's like, fuck, I can't die. And I think he pretty much knows that people are going to exploit him for his invincibility and immortality. And then what we also find out is obviously the army is trying to reproduce his immortality-ness to create more super soldiers, so that we get that plot point. And then the part that I was a little bit confused with, and you may be able to help me out here, Nate, supposedly the doctor or the psychiatrist that he's talking to has the same name as his mother, who passed away in the village, which is Dana.
Oh, okay.
And so, she listens to this past recording, and then she shows up at the dude's house and is like, I haven't been 100% with you. Like, I haven't been completely truthful with you. And so the drop I'm getting is her soul has been resurrected, and she's still alive, and she's making it known that she is still the mother. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what I got. I could be wrong. I could be completely off. And so that's why I wasn't really too upset at the fact that a majority of this book is about the primal times of Berserker. The other thing we got in this book is potential failsafe on how to kill Berserk in this book. So before the mother dies and gets ambushed in the village, she prayed to the gods again that brought her Berserker, and they gave her a gift, I guess, something that could cancel out his immortalityness. And in an argument with the husband, he like threw it in a pit, and it's still there. So there's still something out there that might actually be able to kill him. So that's this book in a nutshell. I actually really enjoyed it. I like seeing the dad dying and being a total ass and not really using his son, like using his son rather than actually having a son. And Berserker like calling it out. He's like, I'm not your son. I'm just your war machine. You know, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm nothing to you but a tool. So I thought it was cool. I'm interested to see where we're gonna go, and if that's really true that the mother's soul is now in the present day and is actually talking through with him his problems, this book got a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
We'll just have to wait and see. But I will say it took us 4 issues to get there. I feel like we could have done it in 2, maybe 3, maybe 3.
Yeah.
But that's Berserker issue 4. I'm still enjoying it. I just hope we're done with the primal time, and we're getting to more modern, or at least get into like the Renaissance or the medieval ages or something.
Something different, yeah.
Yeah,
something
samurai.
new.
Let's do some samurai. We know Keanu's big into feudal Japan. Like I would be down for a couple, like an arc there. That would be dope. So, all right, we're gonna kick it off. We're gonna get our honorable mentions done. Where this is where we kind of quick hits of books that didn't quite make the main show. We got a lot of them.
I don't have any.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay. Well, first we got Captain America, United States Captain America, continuing on the mystery. We've got an assassin going after this League of United States of Captain Americas who aren't necessarily, they're not super, but they're helping their community. So we continue that story here, with social injustice and stuff like that. So that's what happens in this issue. It was good. It's just, we're continuing down that road. The mystery still hasn't been solved. So there's that. We have Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads. I only didn't put this in the show because it's confusing. It's good. It's confusing. I think the main idea behind this book that they've been continuing is how many Marvel characters that you haven't read in a long time can I put in a book? And that's this issue. So Spider-Man basically gets caught in a fight with a magician who's going after the stone, and the stone transports him to an alternate plane where the Hulk is. At the end of the book is basically he gets transported to an alternate plane and the Hulk is trapped there too. So now he's got to figure out how to get out of that alternate plane and not get ripped to shreds by the Hulk. So there's that. Shang-Chi. Holy fuck. This was fun. I should have put it in the main show, but I didn't. Essentially, Shang is trying to reconstruct his father's, 10-ring empire, but for good, right? Like for justice rather than injustice. And so, we're continuously grabbing new characters. In this character, we get the House of the Staff, and we find out that his sister, he's got a bunch of new siblings. She's a mutant. And so when he tries to recruit her, Wolverine shows up thinking that they're trying to kill her, and he's like, look, you're a mutant, you're welcome on Krakoa. They fight it out. It's pretty fucking cool. Basically the sister uses her staff as a big ass flute, and she can play it and move objects. Essentially she can use it to pick up things. It's pretty cool. So that was dope. Infinite Frontier, this has been the first issue that I'm like, this is the first issue where I'm kind of like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there was a lot of what is it, Midnighter? Is that his name? And
so, yeah.
And Old School Green Lantern.
Yeah.
That I just didn't. I have no context for them. Like, like in the grand scheme of things, with all the reboots and all the multiverses and New 52 and now Rebirth, and I don't understand who these characters are or like what they're supposed to be or like anything like that. And we didn't get nearly as much of the like President Superman, which I really enjoyed from the other issues. So
I agree.
I don't know. It wasn't horrible. I just don't know where we're going with any of this.
Yeah, I think we needed a little bit more context. I think that's why we feel so lost. I do like Roy still continuing to be the Black Lantern and potentially becoming the Omega Lantern for Darkseid. I think that's where we're we're moving in that direction. So
also, I'm sure this was a big deal for some people, but I think at the end, we're seeing like a revitalized Infinity Inc. Team.
Yes.
Is that who that is?
I believe so.
Like with Power Girl and
yeah,
Jade
they're
and
gonna
I
fight,
can't remember the names,
they're
but
gonna fight Roy because they think he's bad, which he could be.
he's a Black Lantern, so
He's a Black Lantern, but he still doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So yeah, there's a lot going on in that book.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's that. Hold on, I'm kind of getting all organized. I ran out of bags and boards, so I need to go get some.
I did too, because they don't have resealables.
Fucking pissing me off. Anyway, after that, we've got Harley Quinn. It's the arc, the conclusion of the arc with Hugo Strange. She gets everybody out. She finds out that Hugo's got a affinity for Batman, maybe sexual. We don't know. We're still kind of suppressed there, and Harley Quinn's trying to crack that nut while she's trying to save everybody, which I thought was kind of funny. I think we get a new character in this book, and I don't know who it is, but still enjoying this arc. Love it. Can't wait for the next issue.
Okay.
I think the next issue plays into Fear State, if I'm not mistaken. Static, issue number 2, continuing the rise of Static X and his new powers and how it's affecting the community. I'm liking it, manga-esque. I'd recommend it if you're into Static X and you want to like jump in and get a new arc or like a new version of the character. Pick this up.
Nice.
In my last book, I would have put it in the main show, but it's confusing as fuck. But I actually enjoyed it to the point where I'm gonna get issue 3.
Oh wow!
It's vinyl issue 2. This book is totally out of characteristic for me. It is gore beyond gore.
Yeah.
Issue 1 was confusing as fuck. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I got to get issue 2 to see if there's any clarity. Here's your clarity. So, we have an FBI agent who's trying to turn our main villain or our main character in for being a serial killer. And he gets kidnapped by a cult who is this woman who has possessed her prisoners with spirits that don't want to leave the earth, that are angry. So she's possessed all these people or dead people with these spirits, right? That person, that lady, kidnapped the FBI agent, and so the serial killer is like, well, I gotta go save him. I don't know why he has an affinity for him, but he's got to go save him. So what does he do? He recruits other serial killers to fight this cult of mean spirits. It's weird, but cool at the same time. So he's recruiting all these serial killers to go save this FBI agent, and shit gets gory. And I think I showed this in the Comic Call video. If you get triggered by blood and gore, get out of here now. That's the back of the cover. That's basically what happens in this issue. Is just people getting ripped in half, getting their like partial heads cut off from the jaw. I mean, it's insane. And so the issue ended, and I was like, oh, I gotta know more. I gotta do it. I gotta go get more. So I'm going to get issue 3, and it may be in the main show next time. It may be in honorable mentions. I'm actually digging it, and I'm surprised because I am not a very big like extreme gore reader. I'm not. It's just not my style. But I'm really digging it. It's really cool. So those are our honorable mentions for this episode.
Yep.
That's going to wrap up the show. We appreciate everybody that's been here, that's in chat. If you're watching this as a past episode, we appreciate you watching this. And like we said, we're in the middle of a 500 subscriber milestone giveaway. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. We want you to join so we can give away the slab. We're just going to keep on talking about it until we can finally give it away. Next week, it's a moderate week. I think it's not
Thank goodness.
terribly heavy.
No.
It looks like we've got some decent books. We got some decent hitters in there. I looked at it before the start of the show. I can't remember, but I will say that I get to pick up a pretty cool hardcover and I think you're picking it up too this week. So that'll be in our comic book haul video. I actually have a extra comic book haul piece that we will be talking about.
Oh boy,
yeah, it's gonna be great. Do you have any idea what it is?
Yes, I think I know what it is now.
Okay,
but I won't say
it. Let's say goodbye to our special guest. He only made 2 appearances, so.
Oh yes. What is
Moo. Welcome to the beefiness, Moo. We'll see you guys next time we have a beefy week, but Moo.
Oh,
the
Jesus.
beefiness is real. Moo, moo, moo. I will make that better, guys. I promise.
Okay.
You.
Okay, buddy.
That was my first crack at it, but hey, guys, thanks everybody for watching. Y'all have a great night, and as always, read more comics. See you guys later.
See y'all.